The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Good evening, or so should I say hello, everyone. Welcome to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are brought to you by Belly Up Sports in association with Godzilla Media. My co-host will be here momentarily, but before I go on, I just want to let you know about our social media channels, which are right down here below on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Yeah, even TikTok. It's NoCreds REQ, facebook.com/NoCreds and on YouTube, it's youtube.com/@NoCredsREQ. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, whether it be live or on replay, we thank you for joining us. And don't forget to smash that like button, smash responsibly. Also, share it with others. It helps the show a lot if you share with others. And on the audio side, you can just subscribe to the podcast by going to our megaphone link, or you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Google Play, wherever you podcast. You can also rate and review if your review is nice enough, but also if it's mean enough. We might even read it on the air. And you can also engage with the show by leaving comments. This is a listener-driven show. It's a comment-driven show. We appreciate you joining in the discussion. We want your algorithmic engagement comments. So yeah, and join us during the show. Comment. Doesn't have to be anything related to what the topic is, the topic of conversation is at all, but you can comment, join the conversation. And I'm going to bring in my broadcast partner, ladies and gentlemen, joining us from the mean streets of Albany County, New York. We've got Dustin Henry. Dustin, how are you doing tonight, buddy?
Doing all right. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good. Happy Easter. If you
Same to
celebrate,
you.
did you have a great? I hope you had a great Sunday with your family.
Oh yeah, I did. I had like a brunch type thing, and I was responsible for bringing pastries. So I ate entirely too many donuts and entirely too many apple fritters, and there was some raspberry Danish. We had like eggs, bacon. It was good. It was good. Easter to me always reads kind of like a brunch holiday.
Yeah.
How about you?
Well, I served at my church, doing a live stream and projection. I also got to go to my brother's house. We had pasta. We had typical Italian
Oh, nice.
Easter with antipasto, homemade pasta, tiramisu for dessert. I got to see my mom. She's doing awesome.
Yeah.
We got to break her out of her inpatient rehab for a bit, so she had to hang out with the family for a while. It was a great day. It's a tiring day. I was asleep on the couch by 8:30, but it was a great day, and I'm looking forward to talking some sports tonight.
Oh
With
yeah,
you, of course.
Yeah, me too. I don't know what happened in my brain. I think from last week's 8 o'clock start time, I had that in my brain, and I was like, I got time. And then you're like, I just sent the link, and I'm like,
The link. We're going. I figured it's 7 o'clock. It's your usual. It's our usual Tuesday time.
Yeah, I'm right on it, man. I've been scatterbrained later, but I had something else, and I scheduled it like right up against it. I was like, oh man. But I'm here now. But I am here now, and I'm ready. I'm ready and raring to go.
That's all that matters. So we're going to start tonight with Major League Baseball news. Last week we talked about the opening week of Major League Baseball season. We had some I wouldn't say contenders, but we had some surprises. We had some disappointments. We had some players we were keeping an eye on. But this week we're going to concentrate on some notable things in Major League Baseball. We're going to start off with the Tampa Bay Rays. They're off to a 10-0 start. I think it's the first time in 30 plus years that a Major League Baseball team has started the season 10-0.
Yes.
But I looked at some of their opponents, and they're playing trash opponents, Dustin. Is this a legit? I'll go through the team list in just a moment, but is it a legit 10-0? Like, are these Rays for real, or is this just kind of an illusion?
Well, you know what? It feels, and I'm of two minds about this because we know that it's early in the season. We know, but I'm going to say that it's real only because if it was almost any other team, it would I would say, oh well, they just got hot to start the season, kind of like that Royals team of many years ago. Well, not many years ago, but a number of
20,
years ago now. But
2015. Yeah.
yeah, something like that, or the Royals team of like with Angel Baroa on it, where they got off to this crazy start, and people are like, "Are they for real?" And they were not for real. That 2015 Royals team, they went to the World Series, didn't they? Against the Mets, I think, was it? I'm trying to
Yeah,
remember.
they beat the Mets in 5 games.
Yeah, that's what it was. Sorry, Met fans, I didn't mean to bring up an old sore for you. But to get back to my, this
Somebody
is
had to rip
me.
off that Band-Aid.
This is me. I'm rambling here, but uh, to me, the fact that it's the Rays almost makes it legitimate because the Rays they've started to become known for doing some crazy things. I mean, last year they were doing that whole opener thing and it worked.
Yep.
Everything lately, it seems like the current Rays regime, everything they're doing with sabermetrics and Kevin Cash's crazy management style, it seems to be working. So to me, the fact their opponents, yeah, their opponents, they're not exactly taking down some heavy hitters, but to me, because it's the Rays, I'm like, well, here they are again. They're just doing what they've been known to do the last few years, and it's just find ways to win games unconventionally. Sometimes they play a lot of small ball, and they're just making it work. And the team does have some talent. And they're a fun team to watch, and if they're playing your team, they're a frustrating team to watch. So I'm going to say because it's the Rays, it's legit.
Well, I'm gonna say it's not so legit. I'm not saying this as a Yankees fan. I'm not saying this as a hater.
Mm-hmm.
But here are the 3 opponents they've faced so far. All 4 opponents they've faced so far: the Detroit Tigers,
Yeah.
the Oakland A's, and I can't remember the last team. Oh, yeah, the Oakland A's. Oh God, what was
Let's
the
see.
3rd team they faced? I have I should know this because I had it memorized, and now I don't.
Well,
So,
even the best in the business makes a mistake sometime.
that's true. That's true. That's true. Oh, Washington, the Nationals,
Okay.
and they beat Boston last night, who is kind of mid. I guess you could say they're. I think them in Baltimore right now. They in Baltimore right now are battling for last place in the American League East.
Mhm.
But it's a young season. And
Yeah.
I'm intrigued to see how they do the rest of the year. Like I said, I'm basing this off of the 4 opponents that they've gone against so far, who are not very good teams. In
Yeah.
fact, you could say Detroit is still rebuilding.
Yeah.
Oakland is forever rebuilding right now at this point,
Yeah.
and
Oakland.
and and
Oakland is.
Washington's the same way. They're also rebuilding.
Mhm. I will say Oakland might be, no offense, A's fans, but Oakland might be the worst team in Major League Baseball this year. And it's very early to start the season, but you look at the pieces they've traded away. You look at some of their pitching. You just wonder. Yeah, like you said, they've been in a perpetual state of rebuilding. The Billy Bean magic is not working down there in Oakland so far, and they're in a tough division too. Let's not
Yeah.
let's not forget about that. But I will say, and I agree with you, the Tigers not great to start the season. Doesn't appear to be one of the elite teams. Same with Washington. Washington does. They did that Soto trade and they did get some prospects. I, for one, am a believer in Mackenzie Gore. If he can put it together, he's got elite level stuff. In my opinion, my extremely uneducated opinion. It's not like I'm a baseball scout or anything, but to
Me
me,
neither. Full disclosure.
yeah. To me, though, the reason that this makes this legitimate is in a little bit legitimate in my eyes, even though it's early in the season. One, they're doing what they should do. They're beating up on teams that, as of now, look inferior to them. But in baseball, it is such a long season. It is such a long grind. It is easy to catch a team unaware. To me,
Mm-hmm.
the old saying in football is any given Sunday, and that is true. That is true in the NFL. But to me, it's also true in Major League Baseball because I am no math expert, but because of how long a season is and because you play them, this is not just one off. This is not just okay, we're playing a game against Baltimore and then next week we move on to Boston. No, you're playing a series against these teams. So for Tampa Bay to sweep them all, I mean, I would have thought that at least one team would be able to get one win in there. So to me, it says something about Tampa Bay. Now we will see. We will see. To your point, we will see what happens when they face opponents that are perhaps of a higher standard. But they are the first team. I think it was the Milwaukee Brewers of what 78, 87, something like that went 13-0 to start.
Yeah.
This 10-0 is a legit win streak. I'll put it to you this way: if I was the Yankees, if this was the Yankees right now, I wouldn't care who we beat. I would just say, hey, we won 10 games. I'll take them. So
Right.
to me, it's kind of legit because the Phillies don't look great right now, and the Yankees still lost one to them.
Yeah, and well, the Yankees are up right now. As of right now, they're up 8-2 in the seventh inning.
There we go
Against,
for the
or the bottom. I'm sorry, the
the
bottom of the fourth against the
against
Guardians.
the Guardians. Yeah.
So that point's kind of moot.
Yeah.
And Tampa is up 2-0. So I did look up the longest winning streak to start a Major League Baseball season. It's a tie between the 1987 Milwaukee Brewers
All right,
and
so
the
it was 87.
1982 Atlanta Braves. And the Rays are the seventh team since 1901 to begin the year with 10 or more wins. So they've got 3 games to tie the record, 4 games to break the record. Now, I just want to see how the 1987 Milwaukee Brewers did and the 1982 Atlanta Braves did. So let's take a look and see what happened in the 1987 season. And here's what happened in the 87 season. The Brewers didn't win the World Series. The Minnesota Twins did, but the Milwaukee Brewers finished in third place in the AL East. Yes, they were in the American League East with a 91-71 record. In 1982, the St. Louis Cardinals won the World Series, but Atlanta finished 89-73 in the West. So they won the West Division in 1982. So time will it's a long season. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fascinating to see how the Rays can keep up this pace, to see if this is legit when they start to play some really some better quality teams outside of Detroit, Oakland, Washington, and Boston. Now, I'll get plenty of hate from Boston Red Sox fans. Oh, it's the Red Sox. They're better this year. No, they aren't. Chris Sale is not the pitcher he was 3 years ago.
No.
And the pitching staff's kind of it's suspect at best.
Yes. It's pieced
You picked
together.
up Corey Kluber. He's your ace.
No.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's not and correct me if I'm wrong, but we got another pitcher that also looks washed. I mean, I'm sorry, but in Carlos Carrasco, weren't Carrasco and Kluber once upon a time part of a dynamite at the time Cleveland Indians pitching staff, or am I misremembering that?
Kluber, Carrasco, Trevor Bauer.
Yeah, they had quite the staff going there. It's not doing it. Times are tough for former Cleveland pitchers right now.
Kluber's in Boston. Carrasco's a Met.
Met, yeah.
Not for long, I suspect.
Yeah.
And Trevor Bauer's in Japan. So
yeah.
a little dicey.
Yeah. Well, Trevor Bauer's a whole new can of worms. We should probably not mention him on the show very much.
So before we go on, yeah, exactly. Well, before we go on to our more Major League Baseball news, I just want to check out the comments from the comment section. We got some comments rolling in. Wonko the saying, thanks for joining us. Says maybe Tampa Bay goes undefeated.
I
No.
needed that laugh, Wonko. Thank you very much.
Yeah, right.
Glad to see you.
Yeah, good to see you, buddy. All right, we got Rod from the Rod Uncensored podcast. He says, "What's up, fellas?" He asked Dustin, what positions do you want the Seattle Seahawks to draft? We're going to get to that in the NFL segment, Rod. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this guy's a troll or not. He says, "Hi, soccer ball is better." Okay.
Yeah.
That's your opinion. You're entitled to it.
Yeah, I mean, I like nothing against football, but I like football Americano just a little better. You know what I mean?
Oh, there you go. It's your Spanish lessons for the day.
Yeah.
So speaking of Hispanic players, O'Neal Cruz of the Pittsburgh Pirates with a terrible injury he suffered on Sunday.
Yeah.
Sean Mitchell. Oh, there you go. Sean Mitchell. Sean, where are you viewing us from? Thanks for joining in. We appreciate you joining us on the show tonight. So O'Neal Cruz on Saturday, I believe it was Saturday afternoon. Actually, no, it might have been Sunday. Suffered a broken ankle, fractured ankle, had to have surgery. He's out for 10 to 12 weeks. There was a little bit of a dust up afterwards between Carlos Santana and the catcher for the White Sox. But O'Neal Cruz out with a broken ankle from a sliding in the home plate. Is this a lost season now for the Pirates, or is this just a blemish? Because they're not a bad team. It's just, but they're gonna lose a lot now that he's not there.
Yeah, I don't want to jump to conclusions and say that it's a lost season, but you are not replacing O'Neal Cruz. And by all indications, they're saying he could be out for 4 months or so, which is, I mean, a huge chunk of the season. And you can't replace the kind of things that he can do. And you have to wonder if it's going to deflate the Pirates a little bit. Maybe Bay steps in and gets a little more playing time. He's been a bit of a spark plug this season on this young season, but it's going to be, in my opinion, it's going to be tough for the Pirates to bounce back from this. You lose one of your offensive stars. They're not bereft of talent, but it's going to be tough to you lose one of your biggest stars. It's going to be tough to fill that void for sure. And over the course of the season, there's so many games that you have to play that by the time he comes back, they could be in a bit of a hole, or who knows, maybe they rally around this and go on a run. Crazier things have happened, but to me, it reads as this could derail their season a bit.
Well, if you're a Pirates fan, you're kind of hoping Brian Reynolds is going to pick up the pace. Right now, he's doing pretty good. He's 5 home runs, 366 batting average, 14 RBI, 2 stolen bases.
I'm telling you, your candidate in the Battle of the Bryans. You're getting that coffee. You're getting that coffee. And is this a long play? Is it just a reverse jinx attempt on my part? I don't know. I don't know,
but I mean, Brian Anderson's got 3 home runs and is batting .333 with 10 RBIs himself. So.
Yeah. So we're good to see.
Don't count yourself out just yet.
We're good to see.
But yeah, I mean, hopefully last week I had hope for the Pirates. I was excited about them, just because they're fun to watch. They were exciting. I watched them the highlights. They were a fun team to watch with O'Neal Cruz. Now that he's out of the lineup, you got to wonder if they're going to have the same exciting style without him. But I don't think it's going to matter, because you still, if you're a manager, you're still going to have the same game plan night after night, day after day. So it's not really going to matter. But you lose a talent like O'Neal Cruz, and it's going to suck for a while. But at the same time, you could still do well without him if you pick up the pieces and you stick to your game plan with the aggressive base running. That's what got him into trouble in the first place. The
Yeah.
aggressive base running, the timely home runs, and the timely hitting, plus decent pitching, you could still do pretty well. And that Central Division's, I would say that Central Division's up for grabs, but three different teams, including the Pirates, the Pirates, the Cardinals, and you'd say the Brewers too. They're the three teams who are kind of in that central race right now.
Yeah, and it is, we're kind of it's funny because depending on how you look at things, the long season could either be a negative or a positive, depending on how you look at things. But I just think it's going to be tough to replace some of what he brings to the lineup on a team that like I said, it's not that they lack talent, but I don't think they have another star like that. But baseball, is also a team game. Some people argue it's more of a team game than something like the NFL or basketball, especially the NBA. People say, oh, basketball is not a team game. I disagree, and we're going to possibly get into a little bit of that later. But
no, I'm not going to go in. You're going to
go in. But yeah, baseball is a team game, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm hoping the Pirates rally around this. They're one of those teams. It'd be nice to see them doing well. It'd be nice to see them doing well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we had a really impressive stat from yesterday. Andrew Heaney, former New York Yankee, current Texas Ranger, recorded 9 consecutive strikeouts. He broke Nolan Ryan's team record with 9 consecutive strikeouts against the Kansas City Royals in an 11-2 rout of the Royals. That's pretty impressive, Dustin. I mean,
yeah,
9 consecutive strikeouts. You don't see that very often.
Yeah,
in baseball.
Yeah, and I mean, I've heard some people, including maybe myself, gut reaction was, well, it's against the Royals, and it doesn't look like the Royals are going to be one of the elite teams this year in the MLB early on in the season. But these guys are still major league hitters, which means you have to be very good to make it to the major leagues. Newsflash, I don't want to alarm anyone, but you have to be very, very good. And the path to the major leagues is longer than a lot of other sports. You have to go through more levels, so to speak. So the Royals, they still have major league hitters in their lineups, and they have Vinny Pasquantino. He's a young hitter that
the Pasquatch.
Let's see, they had Billy Butler back in the day. What was his nickname? The Country Breakfast. We should come up with a nickname for Vinny Pasquantino.
He already has one.
The Pasquatch.
Pasquatch. Right. Every time he walks, you see a guy dressed up in a Sasquatch costume walk across in Kauffman Stadium.
Oh man, I didn't know that. That's pretty funny. But like he's there. They have major league hitters. So what Andrew Heaney did is very, very impressive. I believe he retired the first 10 batters, 9 of which were strikeouts. That's something special. Like you said, you don't see that. So regardless of who it was against, extremely impressive.
Absolutely. One note to get to from the pitcher side. Braves pitcher Ian Anderson is reportedly having Tommy John surgery, so he's done for this season and a little bit into next season. Now, Ian Anderson, he's a kid from Clifton Park, New York, which is not too far away from either of us. I went to the same high school of my alma mater, Shenandoah High School. He was part of the Braves 2021 team that won the World Series. So this is a pretty big loss if you're a Braves fan, to see one of your best pitchers go down. Unfortunately, now I don't know if it's true or not. It's just a report that's coming out. He'll have to have Tommy John surgery. But if you're a Braves fan, this is going to affect your rotation.
Oh, for sure, because they don't. Another one of their young pitchers from last year, Kyle Wright, he is still out and on his way back. So The Braves are kind of piecing together a pitching staff as it is right now. And for Anderson to go down, it's unfortunate for them. Very much so.
Yeah. Well, before we get to our first ad break, I want to talk about this particular game that didn't happen in Major League Baseball, happened in AA, happened in the minors. On Saturday, the Chattanooga Lookouts, and I believe they're an affiliate of the Los Angeles Angels, they got no hit by the Space City Trash Pandas.
Please tell me that was a fan-picked name.
Hold on. And they won the game.
Oh.
They got no hit.
Wow.
And they won the game 7-5.
Oh, man. How does that even happen? My brain is broken.
Well, Dustin, I'll tell you, courtesy of CBS Sports, this happened. The Trash Pandas were up in the 7th inning. They're up in the top of the 7th inning. This is what happened. Walk, pop out, walk, strike out, walk, an error, which was, I watched the highlight. It was a dropped ball by the center fielder. So so 3 runs scored. The bases cleared. Hit by pitch. No, I'm sorry. That was 2 runs scored. Hit by pitch, which loaded the bases. Hit by pitch. Once again.
Wow.
Walk. Wild pitch, which brought the score to 7-3. Hit by pitch. Strikeout. So here's what this is the final countdown of what happened. 5 hitters drew a walk. 4 hitters got plunked. 1 reached on an error. So the Trash Pandas did make it a game. It was 7-3 at that point. The Trash Pandas made it a game. They scored 2 more runs in the bottom of the 7th, but unfortunately, that was the score of the game. So the starter, whose name is Coleman Crow, allowed only 2 walks in 6 scoreless, hitless innings, but the bullpen and the defense let him down with all those walks, all those errors. And just to reiterate, folks, the Lookouts beat the Trash Pandas 7-5 and recorded this many hits. 0, zilch, nada, nil.
Jeez. I am mystified. I would venture that will never happen again. That will never happen again. There's just no way. There's just no way. And how do you think that pitcher has got to feel? That pitcher has got to feel horrible about it. Oh, I threw a no-hitter. Oh, geez. It's got to be like the most hollow thing.
Yeah. Now, this happened last year. The Pirates beat the Reds in a game 1-0 without recording a single hit. Hunter Green and Art Warren combined to keep the Pirates to no hits, but it will not go down as an official no-hitter because the 2 pitchers did not go 9 innings, but does qualify as an 8-inning no-hitter. But the Pirates won 1-0 and had no hits. That's back on May 15th of last year.
Oh, I had forgotten about that. How I could forget about that marquee matchup of the Pirates and Reds in May last year. You know, I'm just beside myself with anger. But I mean, at least in that scenario, the 1-0 is a lot more believable because, you know, somebody could get hit by a pitch. So a wild pitch could get past somebody, and you know, but 7-5 is a wild score.
Yeah.
The amount of hit by pitches that you read off in that was like mind blowing.
It was awful. It was awful. I compel you to watch the highlights later. I'll send you the video. I'll text you the video, but you gotta watch just that complete collapse of an inning. It was bad. And I know it's minor league baseball, but it was just Oh goodness. Now I gotta look up the Space City Trash Pandas. Sorry, the Rocket City Trash Pandas. The Rocket City Trash Pandas. They're the affiliate of the Los Angeles Angels, and I think Chattanooga is the affiliate of the Reds, if I'm not mistaken. So the Chattanooga Lookouts, they are the Cincinnati Reds affiliate. Okay, so I had them reversed, but man, that's a terrible way to lose.
Yeah, you're not getting over that one for a while.
No. But before we go to our first ad break, we're gonna go back to our comments section. S. Michael GG says, "My name is Sean. He's checking in from Mexico.
Oh,
so hey, thanks for joining us, Sean." Rod asks, "Will the Tampa Bay Rays be contender this year?" It's a young season. We'll find out in October, Rod. But
but
right now they're looking good.
Yeah, and I think they will, just because for things I detailed at the beginning of the show, the openers, all the things they've done over the past few years, they just seem to find ways to win this team.
Yeah. Yep. Brian Snow, Snowman Media, Multimedia, he says, "Dust those Mavs." It's coming. It's coming. Our buddy Scott says, "Great show, guys. Have to give a shout out to the Bruins. Got the record for most regular season wins. And tonight they're going for the points record to overtake the Montreal Canadiens." Yeah, well, I'm going to talk about that just right at the end of the show. We're going to talk about that just a little bit more. Sean says, "You'll now NFL dogs are the best Americans." I'm not sure what that means, but thank you. Wonka the Saint says, "Wasn't my best night on the mound. I admit it. Why do you think I'm anonymous?" That's why you're in AA ball, Wonka.
Yeah. Still working your way up through the ranks.
And Dustin, I think this is pointed towards you. Are you Elon Musk?
I mean, I've been unmasked on the show. I'm sorry, everybody. I've been
your Tesla's outside.
I've been deceiving everyone. And I've got the first Tesla truck.
And it's ugly.
Yeah.
And our friend Jeff at he asked, "Rodgers officially a member of the Jets yet?" We're going to talk about that in just a moment. But before we do that, we want to talk about one of our newest partners with no credentials required and with Belly Up Sports. It's Mahler Brothers Golf. We all want to look good in the golf course, but it also comes at the expense of feeling good. Mahler Brothers polos, they have polos that look good and feel good. With their lightweight and stretchy material that hugs your body, you will feel cool while looking just as cool. Their polos are guaranteed to make you look better, but it's up to you to golf better. On a hot summer day at the golf course, there's no polo that you would rather wear than Mahler Brothers signature polos. Mahler Brothers Golf has a large catalog of polos with designs for those who want a loud design and others who want a more subtle and sleek looking design. They also have fun tees, hats, tumblers, and so much more to make your golfing experience better. If you go to MahlerBrothers.com, you want to use promo code BELLYUP at checkout and save 15% off your order. So go to MahlerBros.com, use promo code BELLYUP, save 15% off your order. I'm looking to hit the golf course more this summer, Dustin. I don't know about you, but I mean, even if I'm duffing the golf ball around, I still want to look and feel great.
Oh yeah, and guess what? If you're an office man like me for the day job, yeah. I like to put on a little golf polo at the office here, a little business cash going on.
It's right. And I'll share my screen here. Take a look at some of the designs that they have. I mean, they got some pretty funky designs. Look at this. There's some swell stuff right here. You got flamingo, you got dolphins, you got a floral, got USA if you want to punch somebody in the face with patriotism. You got a USA flag shirt. You got another one right here, the America Slim Fit polo.
Oh, there we go.
Camo. These are pretty cool designs.
Yeah, I like the look of the dolphin one up there. I thought I saw it. It was blue. Yeah, dolphin slim fit. That one looks good. I'm gonna get that for the office. Bring a little pop to the office. Get a comments on some shirt.
That's right. So get 15% off your order with promo code BELLYUP at checkout. MahlerBros.com. It's MAHLERBROS.com. MLB.com. Get yours today.
Although I noticed in that screenshot the size selected was extra small. That ain't me, Chief. That ain't me.
That won't even get over my head. I know I've slimmed down quite a bit, but that's a stretch. That's literally and figuratively speaking. So let's talk some NFL news. We had a pretty big signing over the weekend, as it was announced on Sunday that Odell Beckham Jr. has signed with the Baltimore Ravens. There was down to 2 teams that it was looking at for to join in 2023. Between the Ravens and the Jets, he was reportedly going to go for a visit to Florham Park, but it looks like at the final hour, at the strike of midnight on Sunday, the Ravens signed him to a 1-year, $18 million contract. So here's the big question. Does this mean that Lamar Jackson remains the quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens, Dustin?
To me, it almost has to, because Odell, we know the kind of player he is. He's not even with his knee injury and everything, and he's an older player. He still views himself as a number 1 receiver. That's the mindset he has, and he's always said, well, I can't say like I know him, but to me, the fact that he signed with Baltimore indicates that Lamar Jackson will be there, because you're not going to have just anybody throw to you. He didn't sign there to have Huntley throw to him, or Huntley. I always get it.
Snoop Hundley.
Yeah. I always get it.
Whatever, Ian Rappaport.
I know. That's. But he didn't sign there to have him throw to him. So I imagine, unless the Ravens just gave him the highest offer and he kind of signed a prove it deal. But even then, you want to paint yourself in the best light. And how do you do that? You have an elite quarterback throwing to you. It certainly helps. So to me, it signals that Lamar Jackson probably going to be in Baltimore next year.
I talked about this on Snowman's program yesterday. We talked about that a little bit. I have a feeling that Lamar's not going to play next year.
Oh, okay. He's going to sit out.
I just have a feeling this is not Rice talking. This is just
all right.
It's not a bold prediction. It's just
I don't hear the thunder.
There's no thunder. There's no thunder. I promise you that. But there's just I just have a gut feeling he's not gonna suit up this year. Whether it's because of the contract situation with the Ravens, he wants Deshaun Johnson money.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson money. It's what he wants. And thanks a lot, Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Clowns, for resetting the market on quarterbacks everywhere. But he wants that kind of money. He wants the 250. He wants the bag thrown at him. He wants $250 million guaranteed. And the Ravens aren't flinching. They're going to say, we're not going to flinch. We're not going to give you that kind of money. We've got the future to build around. We got you. We want to build around you. And yeah, bringing Odell Beckham Jr. helps, but but I think this contract situation is going to drag out. And I think he's going to pull he's going to pull a Le'Veon Bell, and he's just not going to play. I think partly it's the contract and partly it's his health. His one knee is not.
Yeah, that is true.
He missed the last 6 games of the year because he didn't want to get hurt. He wanted to avoid a Robert Griffin III situation when he blew out his knee twice.
Yeah,
basically in a 5-week span. So I think the situation's untenable at this point. You're going to have to either trade him to the highest bidder, who's going to give you those 2 first-round picks, whether it be Indianapolis or Washington, or whichever NFL team is willing to give up those first-round picks to grab him.
Mm-hmm.
Or he's going to sit out all of 2023, and the signing is just going to be it's not going to happen at all. This OBJ signing is moot.
No, yeah, well, that's a very strange, and that's the only reason why I think, and I mean, obviously, I know that they can't tell him, they can't be like, Odell, he's gonna be here, but I don't know. There's a part of me that would say, because if you're Odell, why wouldn't you want to have Aaron Rodgers throwing to you? You go to so the fact that he signed with Baltimore shocked me. It came out of left field. I didn't even know Baltimore was in the running. And then all of a sudden, bam, there it is that they signed him. So to me, I was just like, this has to mean something, but that's probably me overreaching. But you did bring up Le'Veon Bell. And that was what I wanted to mention. Now I get it, totally different positions. But do you think Lamar, if he does sit out next year, Le'Veon Bell was never the same after he did that. He never.
Well, consider who he signed with and the man who ran that team.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Now I have to factor that into an account, but it's also, you can try to keep yourself
look into my spaced out eyes. I'll tell you who ran that team.
What a press conference that was. But I will say,
incredible moment in Jets history.
And I get it. Running backs age in dog years in the NFL. It's a fact of life.
Yeah.
But there also is a small part of me that wonders, because Lamar Jackson, if he did decide to sit out, he would work, and he would have a trainer, and he would say, I'm staying in shape. I got everything going. I'm ready to go. But there is nothing that can simulate playing in an NFL game. So to me, if he did come back, I mean, look at Deshaun Watson himself. He was an extended layoff for horrific reasons, and he looked like the Tin Man out there. He had a lot of rust going on. So I would wonder if Lamar would just be like, maybe I don't want to do that. So it is, this Lamar Jackson situation continues to be more interesting. You wonder what's going to happen, because it feels like Lamar doesn't want to flinch. The Ravens aren't going to flinch, but I think the two sides are going to find themselves and say, hey, let's work it out. Let's figure this thing out, and let's try to make it work together. But that's just my read.
So we got more comments about the situation. Jeff says OBJ still views, in air quotes, himself as a number one, and I viewed myself as a stud in high school, but I think we all might have, Jeff.
Yeah.
Wonko says Joy Taylor and the Speak crew. I think it's Speak Your Mind on Fox FS1, reporting on NFL Insider, air quotes again, predicts that Jalen Hurts will sign a 7-year, $345 million contract. Thoughts? My first is, what?
Yeah, that, I can't even fathom that kind of money.
That's nearly $50 million a year.
Yeah, that's, man, that.
Yeah. Well, Jeff also asked, Wonko seems high, but Mahomes signed close to $500 million. He signed a $400 million 10-year deal, Mahomes did, but only $63 million that was guaranteed.
Yeah, that's where it was. That's where it was different. It wasn't astronomical guaranteed money. I mean, $63 million is astronomical money, but when you compare it to the rest of the contract, it's probably not going to be. It's kind of like, remember when everybody was like, what the hell are the Islanders doing when they signed Rick DiPietro to that 10-year deal?
Oh my God.
But that deal, had Rick not gotten injured and stuff, and if he had turned into what everyone thought he could be at the time, it would have been a discount, So I don't know, maybe
right.
Maybe this Mahomes deal is just ahead of its time.
Hey, look, Rick DiPietro Day is the same day as Baba Bonilla Day.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So if you're an athlete out there and you want to have yourself a contract, do it, Bobby. I don't think you'll be able to do what Baba Bonilla and Rick DiPietro did, but try something similar to that.
Yeah, but maybe you can talk to old Charles Wang. Maybe he's giving out money somewhere.
I'm not sure if I don't know if he's the owner of the Islanders anymore.
I don't know what.
I think it might have passed.
Well,
unfortunately.
In that case, yeah, I didn't think he was the owner of the Islanders anymore. I was just wondering where.
So here's the details of Patrick Mahomes' contract. So this year he'll make his base salary will be $5.5 million. He has a signing bonus of $2 million, roster bonus of $22.4 million, a workout bonus of $550,000, restructure $6.7 million, miscellaneous. I don't know what miscellaneous is. I'm looking at spottrack.com. So big ups to SpotTrack. $2.5 million. So his cap hit would be $39.693 million for a total of $40.45 million. So it's crazy how these contracts work. Now he's got a base salary next year of only $2.5 million, plus the crazy signing bonuses and the roster bonus and the workout bonus and the restructure. So at the end of his contract, take a guess at what his base salary is for his final year in 2031 at 36 years old.
On the final year, and we're talking
We're talking
Mahomes right now.
We're talking Patrick Mahomes.
Let's say he's at 40 mil a year.
You're actually close. It's 38 mil.
Oh man,
I was base salary at 36 years old.
Man, I was trying. I'm like trying to. Math was never my strong suit, but I'm sitting here carrying.
It wasn't mine either, but I just looked at the contract details. I'm like, wow, this is just the way contracts are structured is just weird.
Yeah.
Wonko says maybe I'm just not keeping up with the NFL, where the NFL money is going. Still don't see Hurts as a top 10 quarterback. Maybe number 10. Yeah. I could see him at number 10, maybe.
Yeah, but I don't. Let's see. Impromptu. Who's better? Who's better right now? We know Mahomes. Is probably he's number one. Joe Burrow. Maybe some people would say he's number 2. Number
Josh
3,
Allen.
Josh Allen. Lots of people loving Josh. Then who do you go? Lamar, if he plays. Do you go Lamar? Because then with the season Jalen Hurts had, I'm not saying he's the best, and I'm not saying being on a great team didn't help, but we were on our football roundtable discussion, and a lot of us were talking Jalen Hurts for MVP. So
I was certainly in that camp.
Yeah,
I was certainly in that camp.
So I mean, would you say? I don't know. Would you? Who else would you go with? Because I'm inclined to put him perhaps in the top 5. But so that's because Russell Wilson's not. I would argue Russell Wilson is slipping out after the season he had. People remember
last season he was.
Yeah, people remember what he used to be, not what he is now, and I'm no Russ hater as a Seahawks fan. I hope he comes back and does better next year, but I don't know who else would, because I wouldn't put Aaron Rodgers above Jalen Hurts right now. If I had to start a team, I would, just based on age alone, I'm going Hurts.
You could say Justin Herbert.
Yeah, that's true.
Definitely
that's the
other top 10.
Yeah, that's the other one that I'm missing.
Trevor Lawrence is creeping up there.
Yes, he did a lot last season to prove. But if he sustains it next year, then we're going to have a conversation.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence is an upward trend. Daniel Jones is on an upward trend.
Yeah, but I would argue Hurts is better than Jones. I would.
Yeah, I would have to think Hurts is definitely in the top 10 conversation.
Yeah, Hurts is better than Dak. I'm sorry, Dallas, but he is. Yeah. So I don't know.
So Jeff asked how the New York Jets are in their negotiations with. He asked if Aaron Rodgers was a member of the New York Jets yet. No, it's officially day like 45 of Aaron Rodgers watch, and I'm tempted to have a moratorium on any Rodgers talk until the deal happens.
This is surpassed Lent,
This is past Jesus wandering in the desert and being tempted by Satan. We're at that point right now. Oh goodness. So actually we had a great question by Rod from the Rod Uncensored podcast, and that was actually one of our topics tonight about who about what your team needs to address in this week's NFL draft, because the draft is 2.5 weeks away. So Dustin, I want to get your opinion on the Seattle Seahawks. I wrote an article on BillyUpSports.com. It was published yesterday about what the biggest needs the Jets have, but I want to get your opinion on what the biggest needs the Seattle Seahawks have.
All right. Well, then I'll lead this one off, and then I'll be interested. I'm going to go read your article because I want to know what you think about the Jets and what's been going on. But as far as I'm concerned, the biggest need that sticks out to me as a Seahawks fan, I'm not like super dialed into the team, but I try my best. They need defensive tackle, D end. We got no pressure on the quarterback last year. It was one of our weak points. So I think they need to address that area on the team, defense. I do also think with everything that's happened with Rashad Penny going on to a new place, I wish him all the best. I hope he does well. He was great when healthy for us, but when healthy was the operative term. Kenneth Walker, I think, is going to be a star in this league, but they need running back depth because, correct me if I'm wrong, but they also lost another running back. I think Travis Homer is no longer on the team. So I think as of now, the only running backs to my memory that we have signed are DJ Dallas and Kenneth Walker. So I would like to see them pick up some running back depth in the draft as well. And I would be remiss if I did not admit they have a top pick. We don't know when we're going to be in this position again. So I think in spite of the Geno Smith deal, I think they should, if they have the opportunity, grab one of the top quarterbacks in this draft with this pick, because then you have the luxury of having Geno, and I love what Geno did last year, but he's not the long-term answer, and the deal leaves it relatively close that you can develop someone behind him, and you don't have to thrust that rookie in. So I would not be opposed if they did go out and get a quarterback, but their biggest need to me is defensive tackle, and of course they need O-line help. I've been banging that drum for years. I think the Seahawks should take a center this year as well.
Okay. All right. So as for my New York Jets, I addressed this on BellyUpSports.com. Articles up right now. The four positions I looked at were offensive line, because I think their depth has been a little bit depleted. They lost George Fant. He's a free agent. They added Wes Schweitzer and Tristan Colon Castillo in free agency. I'm wondering what's going to happen with Connor McDermott, if he's going to be a pre-training training camp casualty. But their biggest need, I think, right now is offensive tackle, because Dwayne Brown, for all the hype that came with him being one of the most durable offensive linemen in the NFL, he only played 12 games last year for the Jets.
Yeah.
And we all know, and every Jets fan knows what's happened with Mekhi Becton. He's only played in, I think, a handful of games since he was drafted in 2020. Missed all last year with a knee injury. From every indication, he looks ready to go for OTAs when OTAs start. He's slimmed down tremendously. I think he's lost like 50 or 60 pounds. He looks slimmer than me. I've lost a bunch of weight since December 2021 myself, but he looks ready to go. But I think the Jets could use either a tackle or an interior lineman. I also addressed the need at defense. I didn't sign linebacker. CJ Mosley is going to be 31 this year. I think he's going to be 31 this year. He's got a big contract he still has remaining. He's still got, I think, 2 years left on his contract, and it's still worth worth a boatload of money. Thanks, Mike McCagnon, for that. But I think they need to address that position inside linebacker. They need some more depth on defensive line, especially in the interior, because of Sheldon Rankins having signed, signed back. He signed back with New Orleans, I believe. So he was an effective run stopper, but I think I think they need to address that. And also, I think they need to address wide receiver, because we don't know what's going to happen with Corey Davis, if he's going to be part of the trade package with Green Bay. There's also the fact that they moved on from Braxton Berrios and Elijah Moore. Braxton Berrios was cut Elijah Moore was traded for a second round pick, so the Jets have back-to-back second round picks in this year's draft. So those are the 4 needs that I think the Jets need. Again, you can look at my article on bellyupsports.com if you're a Jets fan who's watching or listening. If you're watching live or watching the replay or listening on the podcast side, go ahead and check that out, bellyupsports.com. Just go to our NFL section or just look up New York Jets in the search option. So those are my big 4 needs for the New York Jets. Now, there's a trade that actually happened today. Jeff Okudah, the Lions' former defensive back, he was traded to Atlanta for a 5th round pick in 2023. And I'd like to ask the question, with some of the moves that they made on defense so far this year in free agency, they signed Calais Campbell, they add Jeff Okudah. Are the Falcons going to be the team to watch in the NFC South in 2023?
That's, for me, they could be, but it hinges on a couple of things. One, who's playing quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons, and also, and this was my gut reaction, but it also hinges on Arthur Smith. Is he actually going to use some of those weapons that they drafted highly and then proceeded to leave in the bag for most games? I'm looking at you, Kyle Pitts, the unicorn tight end that you took 4th overall, Arthur Smith, and you didn't do anything with him.
I'm putting unicorns in air quotes.
Yeah. Now and then they've got Drake London, but they didn't throw the ball to either of these guys. Arthur Smith was running the ball like a madman.
He's a run first guy.
Yeah, that's the way. But if he decides to air it out and gets that defense playing well, I think the Falcons could be extremely entertaining next year. But that's the thing. Is it Desmond Ridder at quarterback? Is it somebody else? Is it Lamar Jackson?
I think it's good. I think it could be either Lamar Jackson or it could be definitely be Desmond Ridder. They took Desmond Ridder for a reason last year. I think it was a 3rd round pick, if I'm not mistaken.
So. Yeah.
So they took him for a reason, and whatever that reason is, if he's the quarterback of the future for the Falcons, then he's the quarterback of the future for the Falcons.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, part of it is you look at that division and you just wonder what's going on. I mean, Tampa Bay, they got to retool now after the retirement of one Tommy Brady, and they got Baker Mayfield in there now, probably as a bridge gap quarterback. No offense, Baker, but I'm not buying in like I did last year, predicting that you were going to come out with that energy and guide the Panthers to a wild card berth. I'm not going in that well.
Oh no.
So and then the aforementioned Panthers, you look at some of what they're doing. They brought in Frank Reich, he's probably got a plan, but it's going to take a little bit to implement it. So it could be the Falcons. There.
Before we take our next commercial break, Jeff asks, as a Dolphins fan, he says, as a Dolphins fan, I want to see a top O lineman added. Well, here's the problem for the Dolphins. They don't have a 1st round pick. That pick was forfeited in the tampering when it was found that your owner, Mr. Ross, Stephen Ross, had tampered to try to bring in Deshaun Watson. So they lost their 1st round pick. They won't have a pick until round 2 at number 51. So unless they trade back into the 1st round, Jeff, got to wait a while for that 1st pick for the Dolphins. Sorry.
Yeah.
As a Jets fan, I kind of laugh, but at the same time, it's like, whatever. So, so we're going to take a quick commercial break from our friends at SeatGeek. Stay tuned for more No Credentials Required. Hey everyone, it's Ryan from No Credentials Required to talk to you about one of our newest partners at Belly Up Sports, SeatGeek. Yeah, live sports is great on television, but the feeling of being at the arena is a priceless experience. That's why our friends at SeatGeek are there to help you find the best tickets at the best prices. Not only can you get tickets to sporting events, but you can also get tickets to concerts, comedy shows, musicals, and more. Search for your desired event now at SeatGeek.com, enter promo code BellyUpSports at checkout, and you save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek. Life's an event. We have the tickets. And that, I'd like to meet the man who made that commercial. I suspect that he's pretty handsome and is a good guy outside of this
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah. Sounds like it. Sounds like it.
But seriously, folks, SeatGeek.com, use promo code BellyUpSports, get $20 off your first ticket priced out at $50 or more. Baseball season is right here for us in Albany Empire. They're going to start pretty soon.
Yeah.
For later on, it's NFL season. You also got the playoffs for the NBA and NHL. So save yourself a bit of money if you're going to go out to a game. Use promo code BellyUpSports at checkout. Get $20 off any ticket priced $50 or more. We're talking about a little bit about the NBA and the NHL. And Dustin, I mentioned this, and this is part of the banner, part of our fingernail for a thumbnail for the
I saw that.
for the program. Dustin dusts the Mavs. I gotta ask you, as a Dallas Mavericks fan, what happened?
Not good. Not good. Not gonna say
Not good, Bob. Not great, Bob.
I'm not gonna say that I saw this coming, but I remember on these very airwaves, I said I don't like this Kyrie Irving trade. Doesn't look good for the Mavs. I just had a feeling. I had a feeling. And boy, has it looked bad. Luka and Kyrie, they had a horrible record when the two of them were playing together. They traded away their best defensive player in Finney Smith, and then their defense just went off a cliff. It just went off a cliff. And the worst part of it is, one, they're being investigated for tanking, but that part I'm going to leave. That's because the NBA hates Mark Cuban. I'm going to say it. NBA hates Mark Cuban because he and David Stern used to go back and forth. Adam Silver's carrying it on. Every team tanks, okay? Every team tanks. It's just that the Mavs had a shot to be in the playoffs, so they were super obvious about it. And also, Cuban is vocal, and he's not afraid to put his foot in the mouth in the media. So it's that doesn't help matters. Sometimes Cuban, he shoots himself in the foot. I love him for going out and getting some of the best facilities and trying to fly the Mavs players on some of the best planes to help entice free agents there. But it hasn't worked largely. So you traded away your best defensive player for what ineffectually, in my mind, is going to be a rental. And the worst, I don't know how I keep doing this on this show, but it's probably because I've been watching a lot of like WWF and /E documentaries. Shout out to A&E, the WWE on A&E biographies. They're great. They're top notch. They're nostalgic. And that's what's on my mind right now. But Luka Doncic, he's coming out and saying he's your youngest star. He's like probably one of the best players in the NBA. He's a once in a generation talent, and you've got him coming out saying he's not having fun on the court anymore. And you can see it too. You can see it in his face. He used to be out there throwing bombs, making shots. He'd do the tongue wag thing and the points, and he'd be backing down the court like, I don't know how I just did that. But you could tell he was having a great time out there. You have him coming out and saying that he's not having fun on the court anymore, and they got to figure it out. And this was before they flamed out of the playoffs. Now, you know what it reminds me of? And this is where the WWE rant that I just went on comes into play. But Ryan, do you remember I think it was like 95, Shawn Michaels came out and he vacated the title and he said he'd lost his smile.
He lost his smile.
That's what.
Oh my gosh, he went there.
That's what Luka. That's what Luka looks like right now. He's lost his smile, and now there's rumors. And
and Kyrie Irving stole that smile.
I know, and I'm going to start calling Kyrie Irving the smile stealer. All right, now we're out. The thing is now, because Kyrie's not staying. Kyrie's come out and said he said playing for the play-in is not what I expected. So he's gone. So now you traded away Finney Smith. You didn't re-sign Brunson last year, who has proven with the Knicks that he was legit. He was for real. And now Luka's pissed off. Now there's rumors of a potential Luka trade or that he could walk in 2024. It is chaos now. You have mismanaged.
Oh God, it's chaos in Dallas.
And I will tell you, I will be incensed. I will be enraged if you let Luka Doncic get away. That's all I've got to say. But Kyrie is not staying there. The Mavs have come out and said it's not Kyrie or bust.
Nor should he.
Yeah.
Nor should he.
Yeah. He's not going to stay there.
Look,
he's not going to stay there. And it's this league. Luka is great, right? He needs to work on his defense, but he can make any shot. He's
half the league needs to work on their defense.
Yeah. Yeah. But like everybody. But you can't do it with one player anymore. It's not how the NBA works. You gotta pair people together, and then you gotta put depth around them. Because you can't invest all your team in like 3 players either. You got to have like this perfect match. But Luka by himself, along with the fact that there's no sales tax and the fact that the Mavs reportedly have some of the best facilities in the NBA because of that Cuban money. That is not enough to lure free agents to Dallas. We've seen it time and time again. We've seen it, and I remember back in the day, the fans were excited to get Eric Dampier in Dallas. Okay, the center. No offense to Eric Dampier, but come on.
Wow, that's a name from back in the day.
Yeah.
So
those are my thoughts on that. The Kyrie Irving stole Luka Doncic, stole his smile, and now they're in danger of losing him.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, watching and listening to Snowman they talk about Kyrie Irving a lot, and I've talked about him a little bit, and it's just watching. I don't comparison to the documentary as well. The documentary, the docu-series, I should say, Once Upon a Time in Queens.
Oh.
When they talked about the late 80s Mets, not the mid 80s that saw them win the World Series, but I'm talking about 87 onward, when they traded Kevin Mitchell, and when they brought in, was it Kevin? I can't remember his last name. Not Reynolds.
I gotta look at
but I can't remember the name. But I remember Len Dykstra saying, "Yeah, we liked having him on his team. He was a great teammate, but he didn't love baseball."
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that seems what Kyrie Irving is. He's a guy who plays basketball, but he doesn't love basketball. He was drafted in the NBA. He was drafted by the Cleveland Cavaliers after playing, I think, 11 games at Duke, and that was it.
Yeah.
Then he goes from the Cavaliers to the Celtics. Didn't want to play for the Celtics. Went to Brooklyn. Didn't play great with Brooklyn. Gets dealt to Dallas. The irony is that it looked like the Nets were going to be the tanking team when they traded Kyrie. Turned out to be the best thing for them because they're in the playoffs.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Oh, it was Padres out. Let's see. For outfielder Kevin McReynolds.
McReynolds. Okay.
Kevin McReynolds. Yep. That's who it was. I saw that documentary too. That was great. Great soundtrack. But continue.
Yeah. But yeah, it just seems like Kyrie Irving knows how to play basketball, but doesn't love basketball. And he also, whenever I think of Kyrie Irving, I think of that quote from Once Upon a Time in Queens by Len Dykstra saying Kevin McReynolds was a good teammate. Was a good teammate, just didn't love baseball.
Mm-hmm. No, and I think that's an apt comparison. And I love the Uncle Drew shorts as much as the next guy. Those were hilarious, right? But it just and then you think about how LeBron and Kyrie, they were magical together in Cleveland for that title run.
LeBron from the block from my hand.
Yeah, one of the greatest. One of the great
radio calls I've ever heard coming back from Come back from that Red Bulls game.
Yeah, that was it was fantastic. But like then you hear rumblings that he would love to play with LeBron again, after that ended contentiously. I don't think Kyrie can't figure out what he wants, and I don't this is no because I'm not sure how I would be either, but I don't think Kyrie knows how to be a leader and perhaps how to play with teammates unless because for all of there's a lot of people that say a lot of things about LeBron James, but it was clear that in Cleveland LeBron took him aside and said, "Hey, this is how it's going to work." And he figured out a way to play with Kyrie where it was magical. And in that way, Kyrie was another person that he came to rely on with making big shots. And you could tell, I mean, I watched some Mavs games since the trade. You could tell they're just out of sorts. They didn't look great. And you got to wonder how much of it was on whether some of it was on Jason Kidd not figuring out a way to have them both in the games and make it work because clearly something was off. But
I have a feeling Jason Kidd might be out of a job for that. But then again, they could retool the team and without Kyrie Irving, and we'll see where he goes in the offseason.
And I mean, that was the whole reason.
Give a rip, but
that was the whole reason, if memory serves, that Rick Carlisle is no longer the coach of the Mavs, who I thought was a great coach, but one of the
very good coach.
Yeah, but one of the shortcomings and the potential rumors is that Luka perhaps felt, and some of the team brass felt that Rick Carlisle didn't really know how to work with him, didn't really know how to use him. So that's one of the reasons that he is no longer in Dallas. But who knows? And that's why they brought in Jason Kidd to some degree. One, they love him in Dallas for what he did in 2011 with Dirk and everybody, but also he's a player who played the game relatively recently and thought that he'd be able to relate to Luka more and form a better relationship with Luka, and that maybe Luka would have more of an open ear because Jason Kidd is more of a player from the modern era. But I mean, who knows? But it was a dumpster fire.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember back in the day with this trio of Jason Kidd, Jim Jackson, and Jamal Mashburn.
The Mash. Yeah.
They were supposed to be the future in Dallas.
Yeah.
Then Tony Braxton came along.
Yeah, no, I remember because it's a clip and it's one of my favorite clips of all time. And sorry, Coach Kidd, we know what you went on to do. We know, but as a young player, you said, and I quote, "We're going to turn this franchise around 360 degrees." Well, if you turn them around 360 degrees, they're going to end up in the exact same spot.
I quit.
Oh, man.
The mathematics is just terrible.
Yeah. It's worse than me.
It's worse than me.
Something. Yeah.
Oh my God. Let's go to the comment section one more time before we wrap things up. Wonko says, "I'm rooting for the Celtics, I guess."
Yeah.
Keep in mind the NBA is hard for me to follow since the Sonics disappeared. Long live the Sonics.
Yeah.
And so I fair weather fan Cleveland only to see King James leave twice.
Yeah.
LOL.
No, and I am with you, Wonko. When you tuned in last week, you would know that was one of the sports moments that I could change if I could. I would keep the Sonics in Seattle.
And yet you can't say anything bad about LeBron James without people coming after your head.
Yeah.
Ma Kang.
Yeah.
As they say. Shout out to Cole Johnson for that. Jeff says loss of Finn's pick was about Flores, who I liked some claims of quote racist policies. No evidence much, not sure how it'll help. He's talking about Brian Flores, who's the ex-head coach.
Yep.
Not sure how it'll help. Teams hire GM and coaches who are black, but yes, might get fired. Yeah, and Chris Greer, who's the GM of the Dolphins, he's black. Mm-hmm. So I didn't understand that lawsuit when that happened, but I don't know. It's yeah, the Finns probably need new ownership because their ownership is just as reputable as the New York Jets ownership. So
top notch.
Top notch. So I did want to mention briefly NHL news. We got some games going on right now. There are still wild card spots to be determined, but I just did want to let you all in who are listening and watching, whether you're watching live or on a replay. We're gonna do a bracket. We're gonna do a Stanley Cup bracket. I'm working on some things behind the scenes, so stay tuned to our social media channels. I might even announce it on YouTube or other social media channels of what that bracket is going to be. It's going to be a bracket challenge, but I got to figure out some prizes. So stay tuned for a special video coming hopefully this weekend. So we'll let you know. Yeah. So it's some exciting prizes and having some fun. Wonko says, awesome show, Ryan and Dustin. Cool to see you here again, Jeff. Thank you all. Thank you, Wonko. We appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah.
As we always do. Always do. So before we take off, just want to remind you about our social media channels on Twitter, Instagram, and maybe TikTok. I haven't updated since like November at NoCredsREQ, Facebook.com/NoCredsREQ, YouTube.com/at NoCredsREQ. If you're watching on either Facebook or YouTube, whether it be live or on the replay, smash that like button. Smash responsibly. That way the algorithm knows that people like us. On the podcast side, Megaphone's our home base. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Google Play, wherever you podcast. Leave a review, rate and review 5 stars, guys. 5 stars. This many stars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 stars for the rating. Review it. We might even read it on the air, regardless of whether or not it's really sweet or very cruel. We'll read it on the air. For my broadcast partner, Dustin Henry, I'm Ryan McCarthy. Thank you for watching or listening to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are always presented by Belly Up Sports in association with Godzilla Media. Again, thanks for watching or listening, and we'll tune in next week.
Please stay in Dallas, Luca.